Hello again, everyone. I'm Joe Longinusa, welcoming you to another edition of Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, the show where industry leaders, golf professionals, and legends all come and discuss the great game we love so much. So without further ado, let's turn it over to our host to tell us who's next on the tee. Chris, take it away.
Hey, thank you, Joe. Good morning, everybody, and welcome again to another edition of Next on the Tee. I am your host, Chris Mascaro, and today I have one of my favorite guests whose infectious smile and positive attitude makes learning and talking about the game of golf so much fun, and that person is Debbie O'Connell joining me this morning. It's been almost a year since Debbie's been on the show with me, which is way too long for that, but we are excited that she's going to be a part of the show today. She's recently been featured on the Golf Channel School of Golf with Martin Hall. She remains one of the top instructors in all of golf, so I'm very excited to catch up with her, and she's going to be joining me here in just a few moments. So it's going to be another great show today, folks. I am so glad that you are here to take the journey with me. Next on the Tee is brought to you today and every week by our friends over at Seymour Putters. Let's get things rolling by hearing a word about our friends over there.
Golfers, has this happened to you? Great drive, perfect second shot on the green, only to 3 or even 4 putt, shaking your head all the way back to the cart. I have good news. Help is on the way with the Seymour Putter. The Seymour Putter Company's patented RST technology sets up the putter perfectly every time, using a visible gun sight on the top line. Genius! It's like locking radar onto the target, in this case, the golf hole, putting the golfer in perfect position to make a reliable and consistent stroke. The 1999 U.S. Open and 2007 Masters champions both use, you guessed it, the Seymour Putter. So if you're ready to make more putts and take strokes off your game, log on to Seymour.com. That's SEEMORE.com and put a Seymour putter in your bag today.
You know, like Joe just said, check out their rifle scope technology to help win now 3 majors, folks, and 36 tour events and counting. You know why? Because this year's men's British Open champion was using a Seymour putter, and it's going to help you make more putts too. I know it's helping me. Check them out online, Seymour.com, SEEMORE.com, and get one in your bag. You're going to be so very glad that you did. We are also sponsored by the French Lick Resort up in French Lick, Indiana. Folks, you want to talk about a spectacular place to go, check out FrenchLick.com. I had the privilege of taking my family up there back in June, and we're already looking forward to going back as soon as possible. The resort is historic and beautiful, and the golf, my friends, oh my goodness, the golf. The Pete Dye course there hosted this year's Senior PGA Championship, and in a couple of weeks, it's going to host the LPGA Legends Championship. Let's hear a word about that great event.
Inkster, Rinker, Bradley, Stevens, Laley.
Our rich golf history comes alive once again as the legends of the LPGA return to French Lick Resort August 28th through 30th. The Legends Championship, presented by Old National Bank, benefiting Riley Hospital for Children. See the greats of ladies golf take on the gorgeous Pete Dye course in a fun and relaxed setting. Learn more about the Legends Championship presented by Old National Bank, August 28th through the 30th at FrenchLick.com.
I'm telling you, folks, that golf course and that resort are absolutely spectacular. I was talking to the director of golf operations, Dave Harder, and you've heard Dave on the show a couple of times, and he said the Pete Dye course there is kept in championship condition year-round, and they could be ready to host a major at a moment's notice. So if you've always wondered what it would be like to play in a major, and you want to take on Pete Dye, we see Pete Dye Golf Course this week, right, on the men's PGA Championship up at Whistling Straits. You always wondered what it was like to play an event like that? Well, go to the French Lick Resort. They've also got a Donald Ross design course, which is fantastic. It was the site of Walter Hagen's PGA Championship victory back in 1924. They've also got the Valley Links course on the property that dates back to 1907. So, folks, the French Lick Resort needs to be on your list of places to play and stay. For more information and to book your stay, go to FrenchLick.com. I also want to give a shout out to our friends over at Allen Edmonds, makers of top quality made in the USA shoes. Now, folks, the shoes of great leaders from the Oval Office to corner offices to stage and screen and promising cubicles all around the country are a part of what make people successful. The right footwear is important on the carpets and the hardwood floors of our global economy. Get it right with made in the USA quality and value from Allen Edmonds. Allen Edmonds is an American original. They've been making shoes right here in Wisconsin since 1922. Check them out online at allenedmonds.com. We also want to kick the show off like we do here every single week on Next on the Tee, and that's by saluting the brave men and women serving in our military. We want to thank all of you for your daily sacrifices and for what you do every day to keep the rest of us safe. We also want to thank our veterans for all you've done for us over the years. We truly appreciate everything our military personnel do to preserve our freedoms and our liberties. It's through your strength and your efforts that our way of life is even possible. Our sincere thanks as well to Sean Cruz and all the wonderful folks over at the Armed Forces Radio Network. It's an honor for us to have Next on the Tee be a part of your network. You can find our show by going to armedforcesradionetwork.org. And I also want to remind our veterans, be sure to check out globalvoiceforveterans.org. What a wonderful site with news and articles and a wealth of information designed specifically for our veterans that I'm sure you folks are going to find both interesting and beneficial. Again, check it out, globalvoiceforveterans.org. And we also want to thank everyone listening in across the internet on great radio sites like iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, and Blog Talk Radio as well. Plus, if someone's dragging you to the mall or to the grocery store, or you're just simply tired of listening to the same old on your commute, download the Player.fm or Stitcher app on your smartphone, and you can take us with you everywhere you go. Let us give you something fun to focus on while you're out and about. All right, now back with me on the Seymour Putters guest line is Debbie O'Connell. Let me give you some additional background on Debbie. She is a 25-year veteran of women's professional golf and an LPGA Class A teaching and club professional. In 2002, she was named the LPGA National Professional of the Year and the LPGA Southeast Section Professional of the Year as well. In 2004, her high school alma mater, Richwood High up in New Jersey, inducted her into their Athletic Hall of Fame. She was recognized by Golf Digest as one of the top 50 female teachers of America in 2010 and 2012, and she was named a top 50 instructor by the LPGA in 2008 and 2009. She won the inaugural Nancy Lopez Golf Achievement Award in 2007. She's also a media pro, having been featured in Ladies Links 4 Golf magazine on the lpga.com site. She hosted the Debbie O'Connell radio show for a decade and Par 4 for the Course as a TV show. She is also the founder of Golf Positive, which offers multimedia and live educational opportunities to enhance both your golf game and your life too, folks. And if all of that wasn't enough, well, guess what? Today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Debbie.
Thank you, Chris. It's great to be sharing my birthday with you and all of your listeners, especially the Armed Forces and veterans who tune in, and your great sponsors. Wow, I love Seymour Putters. I've played at French Lick and been there. It's just tremendous. And to be with you, you're amazing at what you do and also what you do for golf.
I appreciate you saying that. Debbie, last time we spoke, just to kind of catch up with you had recently had knee surgery, and I saw you moving and shaking on the Golf Channel a few weeks ago. So I'm guessing everything's back to normal. How you feeling?
It was the most amazing thing that I've been through as far as having fears and worries, because I'm very athletic. Besides golf, I love to play tennis. I enjoy working out. I just enjoy running around with the dog. So I was concerned. I just had a small tear. And what the doctor had said is it's kind of like having a hangnail. And if you don't just snip it off, it will keep pulling, and then it's going to be a major fix later. So he went in there. I went home the same day. I actually even walked. I had a brace on for like 3 days walking on it. But, I had to rest some. And it's incredible. It's like it's brand new. So thank you for asking. I feel great.
There you go. Debbie, I try to keep track of all the great things that you're doing over social media, particularly on Twitter. And folks, she's a great follow at Golf Positive on Twitter. You were recently at an LPGA leadership conference. Talk about, what your takeaways from that event were and, just kind of give us some background on what it was all about.
And Chris, I'm still emotional when I think about it. It was an amazing opportunity for me to be the lead professional. And when Nancy Henderson of the LPGA invited me to be the lead professional for this LPGA Leadership Academy, which is taking teenage girls who have an interest in golf or play golf and teaching them leadership skills through golf. For example, we had stations where they would pair in twos. One of the girls would be blindfolded. The other girl would have to talk them through a putting hole. So they'd have to get them around the hole. And the girl who was blindfolded could not speak back. So she couldn't say, wait, I don't understand, or which way am I going the right way? She could say nothing. And so we were working on communication skills. Then neither of the participants could speak at all. So they had to figure out, how can I get her to get the ball in the hole without saying a word to her? So moving her around and then figuring out the length of the putt. So we had many stations like that, but we also did a lot on the indoor. And we were teaching the girls that they truly are in charge of how they feel. There's ways to build their confidence, paying attention to how they think, what their limiting beliefs are, that sometimes, we're not born with limiting beliefs, but either society or family or in school or movies or TV shows kind of show us there's limiting beliefs. Like some girls never see a woman as the hero. Even all the Disney movies, it's always the man who's the hero. So it kind of gives this limiting beliefs to girls that they're not strong enough or they can't be the hero. So we worked on changing those beliefs and getting to think it's possible and anything is possible and that they are strong and they are in charge of how they think and how they feel. To see the transformation of these girls from the first day they walked in to seeing them with confidence and dancing and cheering at the end and walking out that door, it was so rewarding for me to see and moving. I mean, I had tears in my eyes watching how these girls grew in just 2 days. So it's such an important mission.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And, as you mentioned, bringing confidence to them and heroes. I saw an awful lot about the Wonder Woman pose to bring confidence. Saw some pictures out there which were fantastic. Talk about that.
Well, and for your listeners, we'll call it the superhero pose because I'm sure there's many men who are listening to the show as well. And it works for everyone. It was a study done at Harvard University Business School back in 2012. And what they did, they had a group of people come in and through taking some of their saliva, they tested the hormone levels. So the testosterone, which we know is the power confidence hormone, and cortisol, which is a stress hormone. They tested their levels. Then they had half the group stand in a power pose. So like Superman or Superwoman, we'll call it superhero pose. So that's balanced, see your hands on your hips, your chest up, chin up, just feeling big and tall. And then they had the other half of the group in a small kind of pose, where they're sitting and bent over and arms crossed, as little as they could be. In 2 minutes, Chris, the testosterone level went up. The cortisol level went down about 20 to 25%. It was an incredible change in actually chemistry in your body. So we were teaching these girls that you are completely in charge. You're in charge of actual chemicals in your body. And by standing in that power pose every day for 2 minutes, it's going to start your day off just in the most spectacular way. And I have to tell you, I was doing that before the show. I wanted to be ready for you. So I'm actually still standing. And a couple times I'm walking around a little bit, but then I'll stand and I'll put my hand on my hip and I want to keep that confidence level up as I'm, sharing with your audience because I want to do the best I can do for your audience and for you. So it's knowing you're in charge.
Right. That's great stuff. Thank you for that. Debbie, I host another show on the football side called Thursday Night Tailgate, and one of our frequent guests over there is former New England Patriots running back Tony Collins. And Tony always likes to say, what you think about most will come to you, which sounds very similar to something that I saw you post recently, which is, you get what you focus on in life. Talk about, that philosophy for you.
In golf and in life, it's actually the same. So many times I'm teaching golf and I'll ask my student what they're thinking about or in a playing lesson. And oftentimes, I'm trying not to go in the water or I want to avoid the sand because I'm not really good at it. And we examine the thought patterns and where an individual's focus lies. And I tell you, for all your golfers out there, focus on the target. You have to notice some of the other things like the bunkers and where out of bounds is, and because you only to pick the best target. You want to pick a target that gives you room to be successful. Because we're not perfect. We'll never be perfect on the golf course. Just watch golf on Sunday afternoon on television. You'll see the best players in the world be imperfect. But what can be perfect is your focus on the target. So you pick the proper target by noticing what's around, but then from then on, all that should be in your mind is the target. And the same thing in life. We had the girls over the 2 days make a dream board. So they cut out pictures in magazines, they put words down, and we had them actually set goals that they wanted, and then they had a plan for their goals. They knew why they wanted that goal, and they would focus on it. And we were encouraging them to keep that in front of them, put the dream board right up on their dresser or somewhere in their room where they see it every day, and continually put that in their mind. And it is true. You will transform your life by having that goal, seeing it in front of you, and thinking about it, talking to people who have succeeded in that goal, knowing it's possible, and keeping the positive words in your mind and belief and seeing it. And then even just, what I'll do a lot of times at night before I go to bed, I'll just, as I'm falling asleep, close my eyes and think about things I want going forward. Where can I improve? And in the morning, I'll think about, okay, what can I do today to accomplish those goals, to at least make steps and strides towards the ideal outcome that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So it is that focus. And we can be distracted in life, but bring yourself back. Take moments throughout the day to really think about and feel and know what you're focusing on, know what you want in life.
No, that's great advice. And Debbie, I was very excited to see a few weeks ago that your bunker tip was going to be featured on the Golf Channel School of Golf with Martin Hall. How did that come about?
Well, Chris, I have to tell you, I was nervous watching it, and it wasn't live. So here I am watching Martin Hall's show, which I enjoy very much. He and Sarah No H. Brown are terrific together, and I'm watching the show, and I know it's coming on, and then he talked about bunkers. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's coming up soon. And I start getting nervous, and I actually already saw the edited version of it, and I knew it went smoothly. I actually did that in one take, which was thrilling. So it was so funny, though, the feeling I had of being nervous just watching it come on television. And I guess the nerves were about the reaction to, sometimes it's the fellow professionals. Are they going to think, is this a great tip for them? Will it work? And what people might think sometimes. You worry about that, I guess. But I was very pleased, and the reaction and response I had from people was terrific. But what happened is, the LPGA has been working with the Golf Channel. We have Craig Kane used to be at the Golf Channel, and the Golf Channel is a huge partner of the LPGA, and they do so much for the tour. So Mike Wan knows that there's three legs in the LPGA. You have your tours, the LPGA Tour, the Symetra Tour, and then you have your teaching club professional part, and then you have your foundation, which is where the LPGA Girls Golf comes in, but there's that foundation. So he's really trying to work on all three legs and make them grow. And that's what Nancy Henderson's actually ahead of two of those. Mike really focuses on the tour, and he leaves Nancy Henderson to be ahead of the other two legs. So she was working with Craig Kane, and they were working with the Golf Channel saying, we want to promote our teachers more. And they worked with, I think Michael Breed might have been a part of it, obviously Martin Hall, but Kevin Schultz, he's the director of instruction, and they decided let's put these tips on for the LPGA Tour. And there was a whole selection process. They picked 50 of us to send in a video. From the 50, they picked 20 to go through a full day seminar about being on camera, and we practiced and we learned some tips. Michael Breed was one of the people who came in and spoke to us and gave us lots of tips. We did a practice there, like just an impromptu tip in front of everybody. And then from there, they chose 10. And 10 of us went down to Daytona Beach at LPGA International, and we had the opportunity to do a video shoot with the Golf Channel, which was just such an awesome experience. So we all did 3 tips. 2 of them will be shown on the Golf Channel. So I've had 1 so far. I have another one coming up in November, and then all 3 will be on golfchannel.com. So if you did miss it, if you just search for Golf Channel marshmallow bunker tip, or put my name in there too, you will find it, because it's about hitting marshmallows out of the sand bunker, which is a tip I use so often, and it works. So that's why I chose that tip.
There you go. For the one that's coming up in November, let's not give everything away, but can you give us, kind of a peek under the tent? What might we be hearing about from you in November?
Well, what's so cool, I'm not really sure. I did two others, and they're both about a little bit more about the mental game and handling pressure in any situation. Yeah. One of them is the superhero pose. One of them includes that, and the other one is a secret that I tell that will help everyone instantly to improve their game. So I don't know, it's going to be one of those two, but I'll certainly share it with you, Chris, as soon as I know.
Please do. And I'm curious, as you talked about, going through the process, 50 down to 20 down to 10, and the seminar that they gave and Michael Breed was a part of, and giving you some tips or whatnot for being on camera. What are some of the things that, he let you guys know to be prepared for, or how to react when you're on camera?
Well, a lot of it was about being yourself, because, an audience can see through if you're pretending. So it was be yourself, be natural, look at the camera as if it's a person. So, and sometimes that's hard. Fortunately for me, I did have some other experience. I actually minored in broadcasting, so that helped me as well. And then, as you mentioned earlier, the experience I had doing a television show and doing a radio show. But if you've never been in front of the camera, you see this black machine in front of you, and you have to change that into looking through the lens into the audience that you're trying to reach. And for me, I was doing a Wonder Woman pose in the bathroom beforehand. I was jumping up and down, getting my energy up, getting the confidence up. I rehearsed it a lot. But you want to rehearse it and know what you want to say, but then also come across like you're just being natural and speaking. So it's more like having a conversation. I think that was one of the greatest tips that we heard, I think, from Michael Breed. Just you're having a conversation with people, with a person. Think of the camera as a person, and just do what you do and give your tips.
There you go. That's great advice. And Debbie, for our listeners that are going to be going out and playing golf later today or tomorrow, whenever they're going to get out there next, and you talked about the marshmallow tip that you shared and the bunker play and that sort of thing. What's a tip that you can share with our listeners to help them, maybe shave a stroke or two off their score the next time they tee it up?
Most of the time, people get in their own way on the golf course, Chris. Whether it's holding on to a previous hole, putting pressure on themselves. I've been with folks where they hit a great drive and they're in the middle of the fairway, and then don't let it go to waste is a thought, instead of okay, let's hit this next shot. So staying in the present moment is huge, and it sounds so easy, but it's not always that easy. So you have to pay attention to how you're thinking and where your mind's going. So if you hit that great drive, celebrate it. Go, yes, that feels great. And then get up there. Now it's time to focus on the next shot and focus on your target again. If you hit a poor shot, what I like to teach people to say, and what I'll say is I can do better. So I can even say that, and everyone can say that, even if they're upset. You can even say you can say a four-letter word if you want first and go, I can do better. Say it passionately, but then let it go. And it's still a positive statement. For those of you who need to kind of beat yourself up a little bit after you hit a shot you're not happy with, I can do better. And then now it's time, okay, let's get this next shot, focus on the next target, as we talked about before, and then stay in that present moment, one shot at a time. And truly, that superhero pose will work if you struggle. An example, I was playing with a friend of mine, and she was struggling a little bit. So I was giving her tips, loosen your grip, take a deep breath. And she had a few tough holes. Then she had a triple bogey. She looks at me and she says, what do I do? I said, you stand there like Wonder Woman. I'm going to go hit my tee shot. And then, she stood there kind of with weight on one leg in a mad pose with her arm on her hip, one of those like, all right. And I said, no. You're way seasoned, 50-50, stand tall and proud. And I really took my time. I tried to get as many minutes out of her as possible. She went ahead and parred the next hole. And she's like a 22 or 3 handicap, so bogeys are fine for her. I think she went par, bogey, par to finish the round. And she looked at me and she said, that really worked. So you're in charge. You're in charge of your hormones. You're in charge of your thoughts. Take a deep breath and go out and play a great round and know that it's possible. Always know it's possible. Like you don't, even when you're playing well, I hear, and men and women are different in this situation, Chris. A man who's, say, a 30 handicap can go out and, be playing well and just think nothing of it and go along and play. A woman in that situation will be like, oh my gosh, the wheels are going to fall off any minute. This isn't me. I don't know who this is. I don't know. And then, if somebody says to the woman, well, what's your handicap? Now they think they're being accused of cheating and being a sandbagger. Where you take the man who's doing that and he's like, yep, that's me. That's my game. This is how I play, and you can go on and stay confident. So just stay in the moment, believe in yourself, and have a great time. I think life is all about enjoying it, right? Have a great time. What an opportunity. Be thankful that you're out on the golf course.
Right. That's great. Debbie, I'm curious, you talk about mindset. I'm curious, as an instructor, your mindset, when you're watching, a player like Phil Mickelson, because we're talking about short game here and bunker play and pitching and that sort of thing. When you're watching a guy like Phil Mickelson hitting some of his bunker shots and some of those incredible, short game pitch shots that he hits, are you like a football coach that's breaking down game film? Are you looking at his stuff, go, I got to figure out, how does he do that?
Oftentimes I do. It's very fun. And then sometimes I'm just a spectator fan saying just, wow, that's awesome. Because there's times I'm saying, how did he do that? Because there's some really difficult shots on the golf course. You hear it with the announcers. They'll say, he'll be lucky if he leaves it 20 feet from the hole or 15 feet. And then you watch, and they step up there and it's a tap-in, or they almost knock it in. So it is incredible to watch these players. And yes, I'm looking and saying, what can I learn from these amazing, amazing players? Because they are incredible. It's so fun to watch what they can do on the golf course. And it also shows you, too, how tough the game is. The game is really tough, because you see them miss shots. The reason they're so good at the short game shots is because they practice them, because they know they're going to hit it in the trees. They know they're going to miss bunker shot, hit it in the bunker. They know that, so they have to practice all those other things so often. And they're great at it, and they have the confidence. And talk about staying in the moment. When I had the radio show, Chris, and I had, it was a lot of the LPGA champions who were going to be playing in that Legends Tour event were on the show, and I'd ask them, how did you handle coming down the stretch when you had the tournament lead, or you were tied, you had one shot, and we talk about a specific tournament. And they said, I stayed in the moment. One shot at a time, I stayed in the moment. And so even if you miss the green and you have this really difficult shot, and here's something that I've used because it's helped me so much. One of those shots where you're over a bunker, the green's sloping away from you, the hole is cut close, and there's water on the other side of the green. Just picture one of those shots for a moment. Get up there, plan the shot, right, and picture it exactly the way I want it. But, you feel a little uncomfortable in that situation because it's a challenging shot. The last thing I would do is I'd look at it and I'd say, this might go in, which is a very true statement. It might, right? And first, I would actually literally, Chris, feel my body relax a little, because my brain says, if it might go in, it must not be all that hard. And that would be the last thought I put in my head as I looked at the target. And I go, this might go in. And I felt better, and I made a better shot because of it, rather than, oh, man, this is a tough shot. You don't want that to be your last thought.
No, that's a great tip. You know what? That's, as you're framing up that shot, I'm thinking in my mind, oh my God, that's a terrible situation. But you're right. If you put your mind in the right spot, right, and give yourself a break, boy, it sure does make the game a lot more fun to play. And that mindset of this might go in makes it fun, right? Hey, I could make this thing. And how much fun is that?
Exactly. And most of my teaching, people ask me my philosophy, I'll say it's really getting people out of their own way. Because if you've seen some people that have a swing, you wouldn't even go near it as far as teaching it, But if they're loose enough and relaxed and they get the tension out and a good mindset, they'll hit some great solid shots. Watch golf on a Sunday morning at any country club, and you'll see all kinds of golf swings. But you know what? You'll have people just crush it down the middle. But, if they're in the right mindset, they get the tension out of their body, anyone can play this game. Anyone. And have really a good time at it and get better.
There you go. Debbie, just a couple more before we let you go. And we've talked, a little bit throughout this about the French Lick Resort and the Legends Championship that's coming up there starting on Thursday, August 27th. So just a couple of weeks away. And talk about some of the legends that you've had an opportunity to sit down, chat with, play, and who've impacted, your golf career, both as a teaching professional and then off the course as well.
Well, the first person that I have to mention is Nancy Lopez. And what she did for golf was absolutely amazing. When she came on the scene back in '78, she exploded. It brought attention in every arena. I mean, golfers, non-golfers, because she was on all kinds of talk shows and was on the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine. The person that Nancy is even greater than anything she's accomplished in golf. And to meet someone who is at that level of popularity and that level of success, and to be around her, and I'm so blessed that I can call her a friend of mine, is to realize that they are just a true, real person, and she has such a huge heart. And what she gives back, she constantly wants to give back. She's really involved in the girls' golf program. She goes every year and inspires these young girls. She plays oftentimes on the Legends Tour events, and she's just an amazing person. So that opportunity for me, I've worked with Nancy, I've taught with Nancy, and I've played golf with Nancy. And something I've learned from her in the golf course, it was a pretty funny situation. I hit the ball to the right. I was kind of behind a tree, but I actually could get the ball on the green if I aim left, over water, over bunker, faded it back onto the green. And I actually took a second, and I was considering it. Now, Chris, I'm a teaching and club pro. So I don't practice those kind of shots a lot. When I go out and play, I'm trying to hit the ball straight at the target. I occasionally have fun and move the ball. So I looked for a second, and she said, "Debbie, there's a lot of ways to make par." I said, "Okay, I think I'll chip out." So I chipped out. I knocked it on the green. I made the putt. I still made par. I said, "Hey, Nance, thanks for that advice." I mean, it was such a funny situation. She saw me actually consider this amazing. I don't know if any tour player would say, "Gee, over water, over the bunker, faded on." So that's been a blast. But I've had the opportunity to meet some of the young girls. Worked with Brittany Lincecum, Morgan Pretzel, chatted with Lexi Thompson, and they're all just such great people with big goals and big dreams. And we have the Solheim Cup coming up in Germany. I'll be there. Chris, I'll be leading the cheers for the U.S. team. So for all of our military out there, we will be chanting USA, USA. We will sing God Bless America. We will have a blast waving the American flag for the U.S. team over in Germany, which will be coming up in mid-September. So tune in for that. Watch me with the crazy woman who's jumping around in front of the stands trying to get them all excited. And you know what I'm thinking, Chris? Do you see Wonder Woman stance up there? You may see Wonder Woman stance in the stands. You may see it.
There you go. That's awesome. Debbie, you're also a keynote speaker. You've got a great website and, like I say, a great presence over social media. Talk to our listeners about how they can, how they can find you online, how they can follow you over social media, and some of the other things that you do away from the golf course.
Well, as far as the social media, I think I'm on most of them. I keep hearing, well, you need to get on this, you need to get on this. So I have a Pinterest account. Twitter is probably, I'm using that probably the most. Also, the Facebook, it's all at, you can always search Golf Positive. So everything's at Golf Positive. I have a regular Facebook account where you'll see some more things in my life on there as well. Instagram, I post some pictures on Instagram as well. And then the website is actually golfpositive.com. So you can find me on all those. And my email is debbieoconnell@golfpositive.com. Feel free to email me. I love speaking in front of people. I have a couple corporate outings coming up. One is the CME Group, which is a huge sponsor of the LPGA, and we're going to get more of their employees using golf for business, and in particularly women, because we find that many men go out to play golf and use it for business, but not as many women. So for the men who don't, we're going to get them comfortable and confident with the game, and also get the women to get out in those outings and do some networking. So I love doing all that. Off the golf course, I really enjoy tennis. I love family. I love to travel, which is good because I'm traveling a lot in the next couple months, especially a trip to Germany where I've never been before. And so we're just having a blast. And this weekend we're celebrating, besides my birthday, Chris, it's my parents' 50th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
So we have a big party tomorrow with the family and a huge celebration. I'm so blessed with the family I have, and that I have both my family, both my parents, and I'm 48 years old today, so, and to have both my parents and who are active and healthy is just a blessing.
Happy anniversary to your parents. That's fantastic. 50 years. God bless them.
Yeah.
Debbie,
wonderful.
thank you so much for taking time out of your morning to join me again today. You're such a treat to have on the show. And as I mentioned at, in the initial introduction, you've got an infectious smile. You've got an infectious attitude. I think my face hurts because I've been smiling for the last 30 minutes since I've had you on the show, which is a wonderful thing. Thank you so much for all of that. And we certainly look forward to hopefully getting to catch up with you again soon. Look forward to the secret that you're going to share in November on the Golf Channel. I've got that written down. So all fantastic stuff. And you're a fantastic person. Thank you.
Well, Chris, thank you for the time and inviting me to be on. I love it. And you do a phenomenal job. So thank you. And everybody, make it an awesome day.
There you go. Debbie, take care. All the best to you and your parents and your family. We look forward to hopefully getting the opportunity to catch up with you again really soon.
Anytime. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Take care, Debbie.
Bye-bye.
That's Debbie O'Connell from Golf Positive, one of the top instructors anywhere on the planet, male or female, folks. If that didn't bring a smile to your face and it doesn't get you enthused to listen to, Debbie share her stories and what she is doing, I don't know what's going to. So please, you got to follow her on Twitter. She's at Golf Positive. Like she said, golfpositive.com. You can find her online and on all the different social media platforms. She is a wonderful follow and someone you're really going to get to enjoy getting to know and, listening to her tips. And wow, whatever that secret is coming up in November, I am glued because I need to find out what that is. But great stuff. That marshmallow tip, good stuff as well. As a guy who, if I broke down my game and said, where does the game of golf strike fear into me? It's when I'm in the bunkers. My buddies will tell you that. But I've been able to get a little bit better. But Debbie's instruction, that marshmallow tip, is a good one as well. All right, folks, it's time for me to put a bow on this one. Before we close up shop, I want to remind you one more time about the great book that our friend Dave Stockton Jr. and his dad, Dave Stockton, have out there for you called Own Your Own Game. Remember, you heard Debbie talk about it. You hear so much about it every week on this show that so much of the game is played in that 5-inch space between our ears. Well, get your mind right. In this latest book, the Stocktons let you know how to use your mind to play winning golf. Own Your Own Game recreates the experience of riding 18 holes with Mr. Stockton at one of his highly sought-after corporate outings and draws from his experience as a champion on both the regular tour and the Champions Tour, plus as a revered coach. He shows you how to think better, stay calmer, execute more consistently, and most importantly of all, folks, how to enjoy the game more thoroughly. Go to StocktonGolf.com to get your copy, and for a couple of extra dollars, he'll even autograph it for you. All right, folks, my sincere thanks one more time to Debbie O'Connell for joining me today and for making today's show so much fun to be a part of. Again, smiling for the last half hour here, folks. And we thank you for your ability to tune in and bringing us in wherever you're bringing the show content in from, whether it's online or over the Armed Forces Radio Network. We appreciate you the very most. Plus, please also check out our sister show. You heard me talk about it a moment ago, or mention it, Thursday Night Tailgate, with me, my co-host Bob Lazzari, our announcer Joe LaGenusa. That show airs live every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find it on the Armed Forces Radio Network, plus, all over the internet, Blog Talk Radio, Spreaker, TuneIn, iTunes, like I say, iHeartRadio as well. We're on live from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Every week, we are joined by legends from around the NFL and the CFL. Plus, please also go to Facebook and give us a like. That's important to us, too, for both shows. Next on the Tee with Chris Mascaro, Thursday Night Tailgate. You can stream any of our archive shows for free, folks, by going to either one of our websites. This show, nextonthetee.net and ThursdayNightTailgate.com. You can check us out, and again, for free, and you can stay up to date with who some of our future guests are going to be, so you can mark it down on your calendars, because we appreciate you being here and tuning in and listening to the show. Again, we appreciate you guys the very most. Until next week, my friends, hit 'em straight.